Good day, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
It's me, priestofashes, Alex. And I'm here today to talk to you about just various topics. As usual, it's always free flow inside the way with us. So, today I wanted to cover my path and journey back to seeing the universal one, kind of, so that people can start to see it more. It's a better depiction whenever you can see it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I wanted to cover our childlike nature, some reflections upon nature, because if you also look into nature, you'll see it's pretty obvious. That's why a lot of sages are out in the woods and they watch nature. Trinities, how certain parts of our religious aspects came to rise, as well as etymology, 2 words I wanted to cover. So, where did I begin that part? My journey. Oh man, that's so hard.
I don't know.
From the beginning, we lived across the street from a church. Actually, my parents met inside the church singing. That's why I can sing, because both my parents can sing. Though I don't like to sing, I will do it every now and then. It is kind of fun. Growing up, I always seen larger expanses for the infinity. It's like I already knew it when I was a kid. It was really simple. It's like unspoken words and it's just there. It's like you know it. Somehow, as you get older, you have to put all these damn labels on it and everything just and slowly you fall to the world of man. The infinite creator, the divine one, as I used to call it when I was younger, is never ending, full, ever present, always around at all times. Once you take everything and add it back together, it has to make sense. All things come from one thing. It all rose. Some people say it's just mathematical formulas. Other people it's geometry and fractals. It's a holographic reality.
Mm-hmm.
We know that all this stuff is a vibration. The atoms themselves are a vibration moving at its own frequency rate to give itself the illusion of being separate. But it's all vibrating energy. And the vibration or frequency is the word. That's what word means. It is to speak, to bring forth a vibration from the mouth. And as we all know, the Lord spoke, and then came light, and everything else began to emerge from it. In order to see the never-ending one, you have to let go of your normal intellect. If you try to put boxes on this thing and limit what it can do, then you're not going to be able to fully appreciate and see the depth of what everything goes through. It was one time whenever we were younger, Mom used to be slightly depressed, and we had a bad thing happen. As things happen, it's a thing that happened. It was a necessary thing that happened. It led me to go into my closet and close the door and proceed to die. When I did that, I saw the spiritual eye, or the black sun as I call it. And then my memories, images started flashing. And from that point on, I was able to go into the closet and sit down.
And meditate. When he says die, that's what you mean.
No, I was trying to shut down my body.
Yeah.
I was literally trying to leave this place when I was a kid. I was like, this place sucks! The hell is this?
So when you saw the black sun, you got flashes of...
That's whenever the eye developed. If you look through some of my photos, you'll see an eye that has it's white and it's black in the middle, but then the rest of it's black out here.
Yeah.
That's the black sun. First, the pupil expanded all the way out to be full black. Then from the inside, the ring appeared, and it's the circle. And then that stabilized itself into a flat portrait. And then all these other designs over the years have grown into it and expanded out and made it into more of a thing of it's my actual eye.
So when you started getting bits and pieces of, I guess, your former life or your previous selves, you were able to recapture some of that. I mean, you remembered certain aspects.
Well, remember when I was a little kid, embarrassing story. I was having a dream that I was with a woman then she was my wife. And I remember her clearly.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. I was like 3. And I was looking for her.
No, maybe you were 4.
Somewhere in there. Because Grandma caught me. I was sitting there with my hand in my pants, and Grandma walked in the door. I was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing."
You might have been 5.
No. It was about 3. That's my first memory. I'm pretty sure I was 3. And I'm like, But I remembered her face. Like, I remember a face, and when it hit, whenever I see her, hopefully it dawns on me. She has cat-like eyes, kind of. Not real cat eyes, but it's like, cat-like eyes. She's really light. Like, fair-skinned. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, whole nother story, different thing. That was the foundational point. Whenever you get into another body of your consciousness, you have to find something that you hold on to, that you remember, that you'll reconnect with yourself and start to uncover all your old mysteries before. A lot of people have dreams where they it's them, they're in the dream, but they don't look like the person they know themselves.
That's me. I've had that many times.
Yeah. Typically, whenever that's happening, if it's a recurring dream, it's your past self trying to get in touch with you. But people don't know how to go and connect with that. So I tell people, go into the closet, shut the door, and wait. I don't tell them to die, but that might be the secret. It's trying to shut down your body to make it like happen quicker. Not sure, but you have to force it by will. This is none of that like stuff of like
the new age fluff.
Yeah, or like just like I'm gonna kill myself. No, you gotta be like I'm a master of this. I'm leaving this place. I'm shutting my body down, and that's how the spiritual world starts to uncover itself.
So
you must die to the world.
Right, but so not to get you off topic, because I know you have notes here, but in reading the children of the Lost Teachings of Atlantis, the Children of the Law of One, in the very back of the book, because I'm one of those people who like to flip through and read some of the back stuff before reading the front. I always do that. It gives you steps on meditation, on breathing, on diet, and so forth, and that's really where we need to get to, because when you say go in the closet and shut down the thoughts of your mind or proceed to die, you have to train. And I mean, there's various ways to train. There's various ways to get to
it, but it's basically the same thing.
But they're giving you this most simplistic path. So when you say you must go into the closet and you have to sit in darkness, and literally it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen the first time you try it.
The parables, it's maybe for some people the first time. You can never know. The parables give away different things. So moving into our childlike nature, because it's going to be so hard to cover the actual divine one inside of the time limit. Our childlike nature, as we grow up, we have brainwave states we enter into. We start off in delta, then we go theta, then it's alpha, then it's beta. And this happens as you come to consciousness inside of yourself. Whenever you are born, you are a part of heaven. We all know that. Babies are in the kingdom of heaven. Their brainwave state is inside of a delta state, but they are not consciously aware like we are. They're just present as the being. It's a form of stripping away the excess things and becoming aware as just that childlike baby perception. But with maintaining bits of your knowledge and pieces of information. Now, as you grow up, your brainwave state changes, and during the time your brainwave state changes, this is where you're acquiring your filters. Things that have happened to you, labels that your family teaches you or society gives you, or things that like bullies, all that stuff like that. These things add on sheets or layers of perception that you filter your life through. And you're trying
experiences.
You're trying to discover who you are here.
Yeah, in this reality. Yeah.
Who you are here inside this external thing is not really who you are.
Yeah.
Who you are is the being that's inside. And in order to know the being that's inside, you must go within yourself. The kingdom of heaven is within yourself. And you must put down the thoughts of the world, which means you must give back those identities that you've put on in order for you to uncover the child of the divine one within you, the child of God. How it says, how inside John 10:34 it says, "Is it not written in your law, ye are gods?" And then he speaks back to Psalms 82:6, saying that I have said ye are gods, all of your children of the Most High. If we are all children, then that means that we are all children of the Most High. We can We only make a body for a baby. That's all you do.
Procreation.
You do not put in the soul. And you do not own the soul, nor does the child itself even own the soul. Because 1 Corinthians 6 tells you your body is your temple, and you are the Holy Ghost within it, and you only own yourself. Or no one owns you, but you own yourself. Or you don't own yourself, the Father owns you. So, naturally, as you build up and you go through life, eventually you hit alpha brainwave state, which is where you're conscious. Not alpha, but beta. This is when you're about 12, and also whenever your kundalini energy kicks on, which will also be considered when your moon blood comes for women, or whenever a boy has his wet dream. During this time in our ancient history, we used to have ceremonies for them, welcome them into adulthood, because as far as the human procreatorial scale is, they're able to procreate, so now they're able to do the basic things to survive as an animal on their own, technically. You know, because inside some countries, the children do work and they're full grown at certain times, thanks to their tribes and their rituals and stuff like that. Even though the human brain doesn't finish developing to its fullness till age 25, that's a 12-year span that at the age of 13, whenever you start, you're supposed to go to a shaman or a master, and they would initiate you into the mysteries. In that 12 years that crosses, you would develop yourself into being a sage. So by the end of your 25th year, you would be fully developed as a conscious being. But we don't have that anymore because of our technologies and our societies and the way everyone sees content and entertainment, because they're trying to run away from that area within themselves, that person within themselves. They don't want to find that, because in order to find that and become that, you have to face your demons and your shadows.
And interject there, hold your thought. What I wanted to say too when you said that, oh my God, it's the 5G. Nano. I forgot my train of thought that quick. Go ahead, finish. It'll come back to me in a second. When you said that, I had a thought and I lost it. Never mind.
Nano, it happens.
It's the 5G frequencies in the house, people.
Rick's League project. But no, it's the fall of it.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. People go about seeking. They go about seeking. I mean, we're all seeking something. When we go into these places of worship or the church, or we go in we're longing to have a connection to the Father. And I can't say this enough, and it took me a long time to see this. We're going in to these places of worship and meeting people and going to study groups, and hey, nothing wrong with religious organizations in that it's great to have relationships with people and build network and community. But you have to understand one basic thing is you don't need to go into the church to have a relationship with God. Okay? The Creator lives within each one of us. And so when we connect to ourselves, we find the Creator, because our bodies are the temple. The temple. And when I say that, meaning our energy is within the temple and the Creator lives within us, within that.
It is said that the Holy Father gives you the breath. Your breath is not your own. As you breathe in and out of this body, prana. You are taking in breath and taking out breath, the prana. At the same time, you don't power this. You can take control of this, but you don't power this. So with the breath, it is an opportunity to reach a high level of mastery and of ascension. Once you learn to take over your breath or commune with the reality so deeply that you become breathless, as in some of the breathless yogis walking around in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where they're never separate from the infinite creation, and they're technically complete forms. When they do this, after they do this for a while, they end up doing Maha Samadhi, which is them giving up the whole, like it says inside the Bible, they gave up the ghost. Death should be a dignified process. You should be allowed to shut down your body systemically and exit out of it without pain when you feel that your life task has come to an end. So basically, you get sick, oh no, I'm dying. Instead of fighting to try to save your life, you've become wise enough to understand it is your time and your signal for you to go, and you go through the process of shutting yourself down and letting this body go consciously so you keep your awareness about you. But since people don't understand that this is a possibility, they go through this unconsciously and they enter into the world of the dead, which is nothing more but a different form of life, because it's your awareness. Like when you're asleep, and you leave your body, you're entering into that world, but you're not aware of it.
Yeah.
You'll be aware of it this time, but since you weren't aware of it and how to go into it, when you're born back again into a flesh and blood body, you won't retain any of your memories, or it'll be harder
That's the
for
key.
you to retain your memories.
You got to get to that state. You got to get to that level of consciousness before your time is up. And if you can create it, or not create it, but if you can control it, you can control your awareness, and you'll be able to take those memories on with you.
That's what the currency is from this planet. It's not all the things that you've owned or all the things that you do that
big
matter.
fat bank account.
It's
house,
your memories and how you've developed your personal content, and that makes your character. Your character survives death.
Yes.
And goes on with you. That's what makes karma and what's so important. Now, if you watch nature and you have reflections upon nature, as I do, and you have to sit there and look around, what's the thing that powers all this? Like something that makes the trees breathe, and they can scream and communicate at pitches higher than we do, and we can't hear them. Cats can see outside of our visual perception of other things that are there.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the thing within the bodies of all these different animals and plants and such that is powering them?
That's the infinite creator. That's the divine.
That's powering us.
Mm-hmm.
We are not separate from nature or life. In the same way as you see plants die and they come back, and they die and they come back, they seem like they're dead. But their roots, like weeds, their roots stay dormant in the ground until the conditions are right for them to come back up again. That's kind of how we are. We will live and you die, and you live and you die. But what makes more sense for a parent? And I know a lot of you have children out there. You can never get mad at your children for all the time. They can really, really piss you off. But you, at the end, will want to have that relationship or see how at least they're doing. So a father or a mother does not stay mad at their child forever. And nor do they want them to be tormented forever.
Right.
That means, why would an all-loving being that people worship and pray to purposely send you to hell? It wouldn't. Only you can send yourself there through your actions and deeds.
Hell is a state of mind.
Well, it's beyond that.
Well, when I say that,
when you go to them lower worlds, it really is some stuff that's going on in there. It's terrifying.
But I'm saying here in this realm, like right now, the day-to-day interaction, the people are what make this. I mean,
they're dumb though. I don't really call it, like, people are people.
But you do have some evil entities walking among us.
Yeah, they're chasing various things.
But it is a state of mind, I feel
there's
too.
There's a state of mind, but it's more than that. You eventually put yourself into a place where you have incurred your karma, and now you've lowered yourself to another realm, or you move towards a place of self-service, which is a darker path and all that stuff like that, which means you go to your own realm that involves that type of thing, so that your karma can be fully played out, and eventually you might end up coming back to the one, because there's nothing that goes outside of it. Everything and all things experienced is growing and teaching the one.
So I guess to dovetail into that is that we really can never be separated from the infinite being, like you said, infinite conscious, or God, or the divine. It's just that is always there. I mean, God or the infinite one will always be. It has
past,
always,
present, future,
always have
been.
Now. Yes. So for us, our consciousness, our self-realization, our realization is limited because of these filters that we put on. And so our job in this lifetime is to become fully consciously aware or woke and have self-realization, that you realize what you are, not this flesh and blood body, and identifying.
But you're the spirit man inside the body.
Right.
You have no sex, you have no gender, you have no identity.
That is
going back to what I was starting in the beginning. You have none of that. Your childlike nature is just the person looking out of your eyes. To go deeper into it. Now, moving on, the Trinity. A lot of people know the Father, the Holy Ghost, and the Son, or the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Really, you read the creation from John, and it was the one made Barbado, which is the female aspect of itself. It procreated with Barbado and gave birth to other things, which would be the Son, would be the third one, I believe, he gave birth to after all the powers. Or they created the powers, but they actually procreated to make the Son, if I remember properly, the female male aspect. This goes to things like Wicca and everything like that. You all must seek out and see the similarities between your family because everyone's speaking about the same thing. We see the Father and we see this masculine entity. Before the tribes were wandering the desert and everything was more peaceful, before we had to get into a place where we protected ourselves, we actually worshiped the Great Mother. And no one blasphemes the Holy Spirit because that's the mother aspect. So when you see Wicca, they're praising creation and the mother and all these things like that. That is actually them worshiping the Holy Spirit aspect of the creation, as the Father is worshipped through the law of the universe and everything like that. It's a balance that's between the two that humans have forgotten because we become very male oriented. Mm-hmm. Now, the Son is known as the Word, right? If we are all children, and this is something the Nameless taught me, if we're all children of the Father, then that means that we are all uttered. It uttered all of our names, which gave us our name, but we're nameless. It's our frequency that makes us exist, so therefore is never spoken, will never be spoken by anyone else but the Father to denote who we are. Mm-hmm. The saying is, every man is a universe unto himself. Now let's go ahead and break that down. Unai means one. Verse is a rhythmical form of speaking, somewhere around that. So when you say universe, it's like how people speak in tongues or like that. That could be a way that something is given a name and brought into creation. But of course, we wouldn't understand the way the Father speaks and all the different tones and the things that bring us into creation. The only thing that we could do is hear it ourselves, what our name is, our one verse. That's what makes us as well the Word. We are a part of the Word. We all have our own Word. Now there is one who mastered, there are many others who mastered the understanding of the Word. But there's one that's popularized, and that's Yeshua, as being the greatest master of the Word, and that's ever taken form. Even inside the Hindu culture, he's seen as the greatest yogi that's ever walked around
Jesus,
the world.
And we're saying Jesus, but it's Yeshua.
It's Yeshua.
Or Yeshua.
No, it's Yeshua. Yeshua. So let's just not get into it.
Yeah.
It's not, there wasn't a J. J wasn't created until the 1600s. So that word, that name was never used, not in Palestine, not 2,000 years ago.
Right.
As you think there's power in that name, but they've corrupted it, and there's not really any power inside it besides the combined belief of the people that are using it.
Correct.
But as far as using the proper name to have the proper word that's there, it's not present inside of our common thing. Also, it gave us the to go forth and procreate. Procreate. Pro means to go forth, and create means to bring something into existence. It did not say that we had to have children. That's the interpretation that people have. But to go forth and to create something means to pull something into existence. It could be something from here, moving through here. There's various ways to create. There are people who are born eunuchs that can't have children, but they still have the command to go forth and create. So the Father is not cruel. The Divine One, the one that's neither male nor female, is not cruel, and it would not give a command that you cannot fulfill. Go forth and create something. This all goes back to, as well, like the Egyptians. Isis is the Divine Mother. Ra is the Divine Father and mind. El is the Holy Spirit or child, the child within us. We are the child. So Israel is taking those words and putting them together, and that means the place within you. For Jesus said, it's not a castration of the flesh. If the Father wanted you to be circumcised, then your body would have been made circumcised, and He wouldn't have messed that up. Like He creates all nature and makes all forms. So if He wants a thing to be done, He would make that thing be that thing. Instead, He doesn't. He didn't do that. A dark entity made that covenant with people for you to mutilate your holy temple and cut away something that's completely whatchamacallit. And circumcising your son is the akin of doing female genital mutilation, essentially. That's cutting off the clitoris. It's about the same thing. That's actually what it is, because you're messing with the holy temple. And it's actually a castration of the heart, of the inner self. It's he who's within is a Jew. Mm-hmm. He who lives inwardly, the kingdom of heaven is within yourself. Jesus gave a condemnation unto the Pharisees, saying, "Woe unto you, Pharisees! You neither go in yourselves, nor let those who are seeking to go in enter in.
For you have hindered.
For you have hindered them." Yes, exactly. It's like Matthew 24, something like that. It's like, or 23. Can't remember. But it's right inside that area, those two chapters. And inside him is saying that he's giving that condemnation that they're not inside themselves and they're trying to interpret it. In order to understand spiritual law, you cannot be working from logical mind. You have to be working from your inner spirit. If you're not inside your spirit, you can't do the things you should be able to do. If we're all inside spirit, this is nothing more vibrating energy as we are. We can use our will to shape it and form it into something else.
Mm-hmm.
We can use our will to heal. We can use our will to do tons of things.
Like the movies that they flash in front of us all the time. Because
Doctor
there's
Strange.
nuggets of truth in those movies.
Why do you think
watch.
temples are built in geometric patterns, and then you watch Doctor Strange and everything's unlocking and like looks like it's opening to
or
infinite
Inception,
everything?
Another movie, The Inception or whatever. Yeah.
Yep, Lucy.
Yep.
There's tons of movies out there.
They're putting those messages right in front of us, and they're flashing it before our eyes, and we're thinking that it's not real, and it's Hollywood, and it's sci-fi.
But really, they're pulling from the actual truth of things.
It is the truth right in front of us, because those who love us so much have to tell us what they're going to do before they do it, because it is law of... Is it cause and effect?
No, it's the law that's like written, like, in order for, we allow all things that are happening.
Right now on this planet.
We've bought into the monetary system. We've bought into all these different games that are playing, the racial division, all that stuff. When all we had to do was return to us being like little kids, and like when we see another person, we recognize the person within that person. That's how kids operate. If they don't like you because you feel bad, probably because you've done some bad things.
Yeah, it's not how you look. I mean...
Yeah, because trust me, I walk around looking kind of crazy, and kids are like, "Alex!" And like, they like run up to me, and like, we have a great time.
Yeah, they go, the screeching sound, they'll know, and they'll run towards him, all these... and he'll make this screeching noise sound. And, that's Uncle Alex. Where is he? We don't see him. We hear him.
Yeah, it's a normal thing for me. So...
Yeah, but you're right. Kids can tell. Kids know.
And that's also
as well as animals.
Yeah, they're also inside of like the kingdom.
Yeah. So they're in a different vibratory state, I guess, or just different frequency.
There's a lot of thoughts that were conveyed inside of this, and I don't want to push it for too long.
Yeah.
But I guess I can go back and revisit over the stuff. Remember, I will be writing up more things on the Priest of Ashes page to come out.
On Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, and also I guess I'll be sharing things on YouTube. I'll really start to go into the way to break down the mind and to look and examine things from a different view set, disassociated, and able to see and be the same person. We can take away all of our thoughts that make us separate and pretty much join this field where we have what is true and what is untrue. And we can grow and build our knowledge and see the world inside of a certain way. But it comes down to reflections upon yourself. Don't be afraid to face your shadows. If you want to get through the darkness, you have to go through the shadow. And you must learn to master yourself in your shadow. And then you'll be a greater form of yourself for it.
So the key thing is to shed your ego, shed yourself.
Shed your filters.
Shed your filters.
Take off your perceptions that are false. Your senses are malfunctioning. You don't see all you can see. You don't hear all you can hear. You don't taste all there is to taste out there. These bodies are limited. But you, at yourself, in your core, are an unlimited potential of a being that can do anything. Infinite. And when you unlock and pull forth your infinity, you all become the master of your own creation. For all things you do will be in accordance with law, but you will also show that you are a child of the Father and become a lord over some type of aspect as you're walking forward in your own fruition of yourself to bring yourself back to the Creator, but to bring yourself back to the Creator as an experience that makes you a unique individual for it, a learning point.
Correct.
And you prepare your body so that the Father can dwell within you.
Right.
the Father will come and dwell within you, as Jesus says, "I will dwell with you." Blah blah, and the Father dwells.
The Father's already there. You just have to reconnect to it.
Yeah, you'll reconnect with it, and you will dwell. It will dwell in you. Will feel it, and that will be you becoming your higher form. And there will be no such thing as worry about any of the stuff that's going on in the world of man, because you are sure that you can overcome it, because you have an amazing, magnificent thing within you that gives you power.
Correct.
Not everyone will understand, nor will everyone believe.
Yeah.
But whenever you do believe and whenever you do see, at first you will become, how does it say? You'll be in awe. No, you won't be in awe. You'll be terrified when you first see it, because you'll realize everything that you learned your whole life wasn't true. And then you'll become in awe because of how grand and amazing all this is. Like, it's like, whoa, like, we can do all this and these things are popping up because of this. You can use vibration to destroy cancer cells because it's a negative frequency and it's all just energy. You can do all types of stuff. Like, there's an unlimited way of things to happen, and we just have to discover them.
But you have to shed those filters.
You have to get rid of
you have to get back to the simple basics of sitting in a dark room, just being there.
All things are possible. You are only limited by who you think you are. Think about it. So.
Yep. So tonight, when you dream, try to focus on your dream, or.
Mom, let's just leave it there. You all have a good night. Okay, we're running out of time, and we gotta go.
Yeah, so, camera's gonna cut off.
You all have a good night. I just want to bring you this message, and
thanks for joining us. Remember, be the change you want to see all around this planet, because it's up to you and I to make that change. Good night.
Whiskey and tea.
Oh my God.
That's what you need.